Okay.
Thanks, Barbara. Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Bayer. For those of you that I don't know, I work with the Center for Teaching and Learning as the Educational Consultant for Indigenous Initiatives. I want to start us off with a land acknowledgement today. We'll acknowledge that we are gathering here on the traditional and unceded territory of the Silgo Nation. I recognize that this enduring relationship with the land and Indigenous knowledge systems continue to guide us in this work. As we talk about artificial intelligence today, I want us to take a moment to pause and reflect on how it intersects with Indigenous knowledge. Sometimes AI produces information that is culturally inappropriate, deeply stereotypical, inaccurate, or otherwise problematic. Other times, they produce information about Indigenous topics or cultures that is accurate, but that doesn't mean that we are entitled to it. Some knowledge is sacred, tied to ceremony, or meant only for community, and sometimes information has been shared without the right permissions. Cultural safety reminds us that access is not the same as permission. Even if information is online, it doesn't replace the relationships, trust, and time it takes to engage with Indigenous knowledge respectfully, and AI can never replicate that process. As we begin, I hold this responsibility close to me to ensure that technology doesn't bypass relationships, but instead deepens our care and respect for the knowledge that is shared with us. I hope this is something we will all continue to take with us as we learn with AI tools. So as we start today, we'll just go through a quick little session overview. We're going to chat a little bit about where to find resources and support. The GenAI Sandbox, which you'll have at 5 minutes to explore a little bit later with Michael if you choose. Some Indigenous considerations, which we just sort of started to cover, but there's so much more to that. We have some resources you can dive into on your own as well. And the day one conversation. So important things to sort of talk about with your students or your colleagues as a day one conversation about GenAI use. And then the second part, we'll start to talk about helping learners use GenAI effectively, and that'll come with some wonderful demonstrations and questions with some panelists that we've invited here to support us today. Then we'll transition into sort of your free time. You can choose to stay with us and have a bit of an unstructured dialogue or discussion around ethics and academic integrity in the context of AI. Or you can accompany Michael to the GenAI Sandbox and test the capabilities of some of those tools and ask those different questions that you may have. We can run through some demonstrations with that. We will also make sure we have some time for that Q&A in between, and that you can sort of do a little bit of both if you choose. So just let us know what you need from us, and we're happy to make that happen.
All right, with that, I'm happy to take over. So we actually moved these resources onto a printed document, which we also shared via email with everybody that's online. So we have some QR codes on the document as well, so you can take a picture of paper copy. But these are just some resources from our partners down in Vancouver and all the resources that we've been able to find from UBC regarding GenAI. We also have a YouTube video, Gen AI in the Circle, honoring Indigenous voices, which I'd recommend you check out. But yeah, just a few different links for you to check out. Barbara, do you mind? Thank you. Jess, thank you. Perfect. So this was another slide we actually decided to move to the handout, and we added another row that, apologies, I realized I never updated here in the PowerPoint, but this is just a list of different tools that are available to students and instructors with a brief explanation of what you can do with each. And the one row that we didn't add here in the slide was Notebook LM, which is just a tool that's provided by Google that allows you to do a lot of different things that assist you in instructing. So I recommend you take a look at the handout and just review the summary we have there, different capabilities in Notebook LM. But yeah, moving on. Now we are going to talk about what UBC has told us about GenAI. So outside of recommendations, there's really only one statement that's come out from UBC regarding AI, and that is from the Privacy Matters group at UBC, also known as PRISM. They came out with an interim report summarizing the privacy impact assessment of GenAI tools. And so that report is linked at the bottom of this PowerPoint slide here. It's the PIA guidelines for third-party hosted generative AI tools. It also outlines PIA, but on top of that, there are a lot of recommendations for how you should be using AI as an instructor. So I recommend you take a read through no matter what. But the key point that's a little bit hidden in that document is that the real thing that UBC is concerned about is student information. So what matters with GenAI tools is what information we're putting into them. And when it comes to students, there's different kinds of information they can put in. And UBC says that generative AI tools should only be used with the low risk information. This is defined in that document if you want to know more. But What that leads to is the fact that a lot of AI tools ask you to sign up for an account and enter personal information. And so if there are any tools that require you to do that, UBC will not allow you to require that in a course. So taking directly from the document, one of the points it says is that for generative AI tools, if used for teaching purposes, the following applies. First of all, the PIA team recommends against requiring students to use AI tools for a variety of reasons. But secondly, make sure it's optional for students to sign up for an AI tool that requires students to supply their personal information, such as email addresses. So the result of that, which we have here in this table, is that there are only 2 tools that we have access to, third-party tools that you can access in the browser, that don't require you to sign up to be able to use. That's ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. It used to actually be ChatGPT 4.0 Mini, because when you used the free version of ChatGPT and you didn't log in, it would use that specific model. If you logged in, it would use ChatGPT 4.0, but that was just recently changed on August 7th. Now, OpenAI is forcing all of its users, or all of its free users, sorry, to use its latest model, ChatGPT 5, to do some testing. And there have been a lot of negative feedback about that, so that's really interesting. Sorry, that's a sidetrack. So now, as August 7th, UBC will only allow you to require use of ChatGPT 5 or Microsoft Copilot in your courses, because both these tools can be used in the browser. Copilot doesn't even prompt you to sign in. You should be able to just use it in Edge, no matter what. And OpenAI will prompt you to sign up for an account. You can just click no, and then you can continue using the application. So to be clear, with that note at the top, following tools have been approved for required use with caution, and that with caution is just following the recommendations that are in the document at the bottom. So I recommend you review that. But they are approved for required use with caution within a course at UBC. But this only pertains to tools required for student use in a course. This does not apply to tools that you choose to use or that students choose to use. UBC doesn't control that at all. But beyond that, we just have some more points about if each of these 2 tools protect your personal information. And the answer is no, and partially, and the justification for that is in OpenAI's documentation. They explain that no, they don't protect your personal information, and Copilot partially. We can move on to the next slide. Awesome. So moving on from that, we'd like to talk about our new setup in the UBCO CTL called the CTL Gen AI Sandbox. So all it is, sorry, I've lost my notes here. All it is a computer in ADM 103H with a powerful hardware setup. The hardware doesn't really matter specifically, just that it allows us to do some cool stuff with AI. But beyond that, what's cool is that it's just an area with seating, with whiteboards, and with on-call support from CTL members to be able to ask your questions about AI or help you work with AI to achieve your goals. That being said, if you just like to learn about what tools are available and what students can do with AI, and you feel like you don't have a lot of technical expertise, we really hope this is a place where you feel welcome as well. And you can just schedule a time to be able to ask questions and experiment. But beyond that, our Gen AI Sandbox has the hardware and technical setup already completed to allow you to run large language models, or LLMs, locally. Example of these would be Llama 3.2, but some models that would be useful for instructors would be Qwen 2.5 or Mistral Nemo Instruct. Either of those are really useful for specifically in course development, assignment creation, or research. And we have the ability to run those models without connecting to a third-party service. So your information is protected, and you don't have to worry about it being used to train their models or anything. So yeah, it can be run fully offline, and all the technical setup is already there. So you can walk in, tell us what model you want to use, you can get started. It's the other technical cool thing is that it's equipped with a powerful graphics card that allows us to do generative media, which is creating images, video, and audio. And this next slide, I'm going to go into a bit of more of the details of what you can do, but I just wanted to give a preface to everybody. I know we have some people with some experience with AI in here, but if you feel like this doesn't apply to you, because it is a bit technical, it's a bit overwhelming, I would just encourage you to review our handouts that we have, because they have a bit more general information on AI there. But yeah, just wanted to warn you, this next slide may be a little bit overwhelming. But oh, sorry. Awesome. Thank you, Jess. So to go more specifically about what we can do on the AI workstation, we have two different workflows set up right now. First is using large language models locally. We have a service called Ollama set up, which allows you to run large language models, and a graphical user interface called Open Web UI. Now we set up a script so that all launches on one click for you. And then if you just tell us what models you want to use, we can set that up for you in advance. Or actually, it's pretty easy for you to set up if you'd like to. And you can download those models and then do whatever you would normally be doing in third-party tools like ChatGPT without being connected to the internet, not giving your information to companies, and while being able to use specific models that may be applicable to what you're doing. So that's what's really interesting about using large language models locally. But I think the flashy part is definitely generative media. Because we have a graphics card, we're able to create images, video, audio, and even 3D models. And so all of these can be done through one graphical user interface that we've already set up, or sorry, it will be using different models, but those models would then be accessed through a graphical user interface. And that graphical user interface is Comfy UI. And Comfy UI is fully set up already. We actually set up a Python script that when you click on it, it sets up the file structure for you as a user logged into the desktop to create your own output folder. So then all of the content you create is stored separately, and you can manage it as well. So then you can clear that, make sure other people can't see your content if you want. And other than that, is fairly streamlined. You should just have to click on that script, and then once you're into it, pretty much looks like Photoshop. There's a lot of cool inputs, and the things that it is pretty technical at the end of the day, but that's what we're here for. We're hoping we can guide you, and if you are interested in using those to be able to generate those types of content, we can assist with that. So I just want to say specifically that it's image generation, video, audio, music, text-to-speech, and 3D modeling is what I've seen so far. There are other possibilities, but all those different kinds of content can be done within the one graphical user interface and graphical user interface we already have set up. So the big technical hurdle is already passed, and if you're interested in exploring those options, we can get started with you. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I have a few more notes, but I think I've already been a little bit too technical. So I'll finish up with that, and I'm not sure if that's my last slide.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Michael.
Absolutely.
Just want to, if not everybody, I just put this in chat as well, that we'll be sharing slides afterwards and resources. So never fear, and the recording as well. And here's one other resource that'll be more useful when you get it, and you can click on the different links. But just some reminders that this session is really focused on, getting you ready for the semester. So we're thinking about what's that day one conversation look like with your students. Maybe you've already thought of that. Maybe you've already had that because GenAI has been around a while. But we have resources for you to consider. What are you putting in your syllabus? What are the statements? What are you putting on your course assignments to support academic integrity? That two-way transparency is really important. I don't know if you've been following the news and generative AI in higher education, but some students have been upset to discover that their professors have been using generative AI to generate feedback and on assignments and not letting them know. So getting to know your students, how they use generative AI, how you use generative AI can really help to build trust around this new tool. Again, speak to them about their views. There's a link to the UNESCO's competency framework, really thinking about when they should be using generative AI, when it's useful, and rather than outsourcing all their thinking. Last but not least, what skills are they gaining? We want them to be learning about how to use generative AI effectively. That's kind of the focus of this course, focus of this workshop today. But then also, again, as I mentioned, if they're relying on it all the time, 100%, then what are they losing in the learning outcomes that you have designed for them in the course? So again, look at those links when you have a chance. So next, we're going to be transferring over to helping learners use Gen AI. Yeah, maybe just back up just a little bit. So I want to preface again, this workshop, there's so many different topics we could have tackled around Gen AI. This is going to be the first of many. We'll have others during the term around, helping students, preventing outsourcing, for example. They're thinking how to think about your assignments and redesigning assignments. There is no such thing as like an AI proof assignment, unless you're like right there, removed from all technology in the room in that same time. But we'll have other sessions, and this one is really focused on kind of that beginning of the term, starting the conversation, and really thinking about your own expertise in your discipline and how you can use that to support you in conversation with generative AI. So I want to kind of just preface that. The way that I've been thinking about it is, the output that all of us, but especially students see. What do they see when they use generative AI for an assignment, right? For a prompt, for an answer, and they get this output that on the surface, right? They recognize patterns. It's the format they want. It's effective synthesis. It's persuasive. And they're like, great, I'll just turn this in because the work is done for me and I can't really improve it, right? And what they're not noticing, below the waterline, right, are the emissions, the neurofocus, the biases. Jessica mentioned like Indigenous knowledge and gaps and what misconceptions and stereotypes that could be surfaced that only you as an expert in your discipline will be able to really unpack and notice the gaps. And so this is what this session is about, that we've invited panelists to share their expertise and how they view generative AI with assignments for students, and then seeing the output and taking time to really critically unpack that and share that with students as well. So I think one more slide. So again, this is about how you're leveraging your expertise. They need you, the students need you to help them see what is below the iceberg below the waterline. So model how you're critically reflecting on the output that you get. It could be one way of doing that. Maybe embedding different opportunities for this targeted analysis. Sometimes we tell students just analyze or critically, assess the result, but what does that really mean, right? To really breaking that down for them, like, what is the impact? What are the contextual factors that are being excluded, not considered? What's, accounting for human error or human needs and maybe not included in the output. So being really, that's what I'm referring to as targeted analysis there when you ask them to analyze the output. And then co-generate questions with the students around an assignment. So you say, for this assignment, you can use generative AI, but we want to be identifying patterns, looking at, the limitations of the actual data that generative has that's been trained on to generate the output, compare their own ideas and the course context, use the assignment rubric, for example, to assess the output. So there's different ways to guide, to find where those blind spots are in the output, right? So you all are best to model that. I think that's my slide, and I will hand it over to Raymond. And let everybody introduce themselves just briefly. And thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raymond Lartz. I'm a professor in computer science. Glad to be here to talk about things. You go to the next slide.
Do you want to do slides?
Yeah, I only have 3
Oh,
slides.
perfect. I can do it, yeah.
So like everybody, I'm challenged to figure out how I want to use AI in my courses. Last year, I did not allow AI in assignments, but I did allow it for projects, and I had a Canvas exam. This year, I'm totally switching it up. I spent way more time validating AI answers that students might have done than the online exam saved me. So I'm gonna have to go back to paper exams for all my exams. I'm gonna allow AI throughout my course. And I'm gonna have them drop in and talk to TAs about how they did the assignment to have some sort of validation. But what I'm gonna talk about though is how we're using AI to support students. My class was 220. This year it's smaller, it's only 145, but still scale is important. And the question is, can we have course-specific chatbots to help answer student questions that TAs aren't there? And I'm also interested from the research side, what type of questions do students ask AI? And if you use commercial systems, you can get those answers because they're doing it on their own. Next slide. Okay, so this is a video, so this should play, hopefully. I've been tested on this thing. So this is what our current system looks like. It was deployed in the course last year. Is this running?
Is it a voice?
There's no voice, but it should.
Yeah. coming down.
Looked like it was paused.
Can you move the board to the side, maybe try to drag this part to the side?
Oh, this part.
Yeah, this part, you drag it, maybe you can see that.
So while she's doing that, what you're seeing is the help center that students are exposed to. On the left-hand side is basically a help queue for students on Zoom. That's not AI relevant, but that's helping when TAs are there. On the right-hand side is an anytime available chatbot that students can ask questions about the course, and it comes back with answers and any materials that link to what this course instructor has uploaded. They also could post something what we're calling an anytime question. The difference here is this one, if the AI doesn't come back with a good answer. So it's kind of like a discussion board. The student posts the question, an answer comes back from the AI in real time. You saw that happen. But if they're not happy with that, they can click that they still need faculty help. And then that gets promoted to one of the instructional staff, either TA or student or instructor. If they are happy, then great. The question's been answered and there's no issue with that. And then so now we're on the staff view. The staff can come in and take a look at the questions and then post an answer to the student, whatever that answer may be. So this is basically allowing human in the loop because we know AI is great when it's good, and then it's absolutely terrible often with things that are very specific. It dates things that are, if you don't provide the information, the AI isn't able to answer those for commercial systems. So this allows the instructors to have some sort of understanding on what is being asked. And the major benefit is once the instructor actually answers the question, you've now actually trained the AI to answer the question better next time it's answered. So that's something we're really looking forward to. Okay, next slide. So I think that's the end of the video. So what we're actually going to do now is roll this out much more broadly. Since last December, there's been a whole bunch of system development that's went through. We went through a private impact assessment. This is accessible to any instructor at UBC. Everything is hosted at UBC, so nothing goes off-site. There is no commercial systems used in any way. And we also now have a Canvas integration where you can kind of drop it in and it'll integrate with your Canvas shell. And so this year, starting in September, we probably have at least 10 or 15 instructors using it in pilot phase, not just in Okanagan and Vancouver as well, programs. And we're doing a research study that people do not have to participate in, but they can to actually collect data and analyze how well the AI is being effective in your courses. So I went through this a little bit, and I'm happy to answer questions later. That kind of comes up. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, Mohammed is joining us online.
Ian has a question.
Okay.
So it only based on the syllabus or based on the whole course content? Can we have like what material can be integrated into the channel?
Anything you want to upload, PDFs, PowerPoints. So what I did for my course September, December, I uploaded all my PowerPoints as PDFs, and then it has it now. New for this September, it's actually Canvas integrated, so you can point it at the shell and it'll grab all your Canvas content into the AI. And so you don't actually have to upload it yourself.
We can use it through Canvas now.
You still got to log in through the system, but there will be a link through Canvas that you can use it.
And if there's new information, we'll automatic update the train the AI.
every day.
Okay, amazing.
Great.
Can I go?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Raymond, for your part, and thank you very much, Barbara, for inviting me for this session. It is my pleasure to talk about whatever I'm doing with AI in my classroom. So my name is Mohamed Tiznobek. I'm with the School of Engineering, a lecturer since 2018. I've been graduated as a civil engineer back in 1996. I work in industry. And as I mentioned, during the last 7 years, I've been with UBC. During these years, I've taught 11 different courses in the School of Engineering in both mechanical and civil engineering. One of the courses that I'm teaching is law and ethics. I've offered that course for 6 times. And if you can go for the next slide. So, okay, so basically, this is a question that I'm asking from my students in ENGR 413, 4th year compulsory course for all engineers at the School of Engineering. They call it Law and Ethics for Engineer. And that's a prompt basically that I've tried to test it, and I've tried to ask this question from a student. So the question is right in here, prompt is right in here. A full-time university professor seeking supplemental income is offered a weekend online seasonal teaching role at another institution. Before accepting, he consults with his department chair to ensure that the additional work will not conflict with his primary responsibilities or compromises the quality of his duties at his home university. He then accepts the position. So the question is right in here. What practical safeguard should the professor put in place? Please summarize the answer, correct? So let's say I'm asking this question from students. So I'm expecting students to go beyond the only wording type of this type of questions, basically, like the way that we are going to go for a consultant with a lawyer. So we are bringing a statement to the lawyer. We are asking the lawyer to consult with us with respect of the statement. However, we are not asking that expert to be limited to answer the question with respect of those limited words or those limited explanation that we are offering to the expert. So I have asked this from ChatGPT, 3 level of ChatGPT, okay? So if you push one more click, please. So let's say this is the main question that we are asking, practical safeguards. So please push another click. Excellent. So this is the prompt, and this is the first response that I've received from ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, this is the last interaction yesterday morning. So I try to be as much as possible up to date with respect of the latest technology available. So ChatGPT 5 mini means that you have the free version of ChatGPT and you have interacted so many times during a short period of time. And then ChatGPT will tell you that I'm not going to give you the same level of expertise. I'm going to downgrade you for sometimes maybe for 3 hours. And this is the lowest, basically, intelligence that we can receive from ChatGPT. So this is the short answer received, and I have tried to snapshot that answer. So put one more click. So that's the point that I'm expecting a student to discover, the conflict of interest. That's the main point in this discussion. So it says that avoid teaching basically materials that overlap with his main university's courses. So basically, it implies that that I have to teach another course in different topic for another university, correct? So that's one answer. So if you go to the next slide, you can see that, excellent. In this slide, you can see that I have used ChatGPT free version, the one that is available for all of us for limited amount of time, and ChatGPT 5, if you push one more click, and another click to make it bigger, excellent. So you see that conflict of interest, it says avoid situation where the outside role could overlap with the competent with or compete against the home institution program. So that's the main thing that I'm expecting from the students. Yes, I have asked for a practical safeguard. Yes, I know that, but whatever students are thinking is out of this box. They have to bring and challenge themselves to find if this action is even an ethical action or not. We call this moonlighting, and moonlighting is unethical, sometimes legal, and sometimes is going to be illegal. So at the end of the day, at least we know that moonlighting is unethical. And this is the point that I'm expecting the students to bring out and explain it to me. And I can see that if the students wants to use ChatGPT, they cannot understand this enough. So in essence, I'm expecting the students to know that if a professor wants to work in another university, and if the home university, let's say I'm working for UBC, and UBC has a higher rank among all other universities in the world. So UBC has me to be that much competent. So if I bring that competency to other institutions, then I'm compromising the competency of my home institution. Okay, so those are the points that I'm expecting the students to bring out and think about it. Of course, if I go for the next slide, you can see the response from another level of ChatGPT. So this is the paid version. So they call it ChatGPT Plus, and it has different level. And I've used the thinking. So this is the best intelligent interaction that I can have with ChatGPT with the paid version. Of course, if you pay much more money, you can use the Pro. I haven't had access to that one. So this is the maximum that I could get. And here, if you click one more time, you can see it says that get written approval from chair/dean, specifying the scope, hours, date, and clauses that home university duties take place. Still, you can see even in that level, ChatGPT is not going to bring that out. What is the conflict of interest in a very explicit way? So those are the points that I wanted the students to know that. Of course, you are going to give the ChatGPT a prompt. Of course, you are going to receive something, but do you have the capability to judge the answer they receive? And also, if I wanted to discuss about that point, I can discuss it more in depth in terms of an engineering professor. So engineering professor has been bounded by EGBC Code of Ethics. And in that level, I have different liabilities, and I have different expectation to basically satisfy. All I'm trying to say is ChatGPT at this level, with respect of this course and many other courses in engineering, and I didn't want to bring more example from the engineering side because it's not going to be appealing for all the audience in this setup. I can see shortfalls, and I can see that most of the time, even the paid version is going to give good answer, but that answer is still by expectation of a human being can be more complete or can be more accurate. That's all that I wanted to share. I can talk about this topic more, but that is way more than my 2 cents time that I have. Thank you, Barbara. Back to you.
Thank you very much. One example of different levels of Gener AI and the extent to which it can respond to a prompt. So, moving on to you.
Hi everyone, live in the room right now on Zoom. My name is Ying Zhu. I am associate professor at Faculty of Management. I joined UBC in 2011. Just to brag about myself, I just got appointed as an AI advisor for UBCO. That's not saying that. That's only indicating I'm dedicated to embrace AI in our education institution, trying to understand the advantage and disadvantage and all applications. It will lead us to, and thanks Raymond for create this AI chatbot. We definitely need it. So today, because I was told I should provide some hallucination examples, I will focusing on that. I know I only have 5 minutes. So last semester, I taught 2 courses. One is consumer behavior. The other is marketing strategy. because in marketing space, AI has been fully embraced by all the industry practitioners. They use AI to create promotion material, advertisements. They incorporate AI chatbot in some service sectors. So I think in order for business students to get jobs in the industry, they have to be familiar with AI and AI tools. So for consumer behavior marketing strategy, I partner with 11 local business and nonprofits and ask students to create the marketing, like consumer promotion related materials as a one project, and another project is to complete a marketing strategic plan for those organizations. And I Raymond mentioned we don't know what prompts they put in. So in my assignment, they are required to put all the prompts in the appendix. So I actually have a large set of document. If the CTL interested in exploring, I'd be happy to share. So because just 5 minutes, I'm putting on something really simple. So this one. Okay. So in consumer behavior class and group 2, they were working with local business, which is Corona Dental Solution. And then obviously in their submitted document in the reference section, they put in this reference. And so this is actually across board. And especially you can see it differentiates groups who care about the assignment. They will meticulously check for the links versus groups like, I just want to get it over, and whatever ChatGPT gave me, I will just put it over there. So it's very clear. And that shows it like other assignments. Some students, you can see the time, efforts, and the amount of material they read to integrate in the assignment. Others like really bare minimum. Another aspect of seeing is some of the students, they use gamma.app to create the slides. And because they use the default, their template, the graphs, icons are identical. It just a content have a little bit differences because it's different company. So I think those are the things we need to start be aware and communicate with students. Your efforts, you all use AI, but your efforts can be reflect on your grades. So, and following this, ChatGPT can really help us to do a lot of formatting. Like for instance, we can get, student can get a link from the website, and then they can use ChatGPT to format it into like APA style. And so this is one example. Okay, so they have the link, they ask ChatGPT to format it, and let's take a look. So this is the actual article. And then I know the font is a little bit small, but if you look at, let's look at the title first. Okay. So here's the question. Why do you think ChatGPT come up with the title and put it there? Anyone want to guess?
Thinks it's a better title. Thinks it's a better title, reformatted, proofread it.
Actually, I want to give you a hint.
Okay,
The answer is in the slides.
okay.
There could be a lot of different way of indicating the title, but why ChatGPT?
I took the URL.
The URL.
Exactly.
The URL.
Exactly. Thank you. The computer science professor again thinking right away. So ChatGPT wanna do a simple, easy job. Instead of really go to the website, extract information. They have the URL. They're like, oh, the URL gave me this, so I will just use it. Well, that's not accurate. Okay. The second one is if you're looking at the date, June 9th, 2022. Well, we all know large language model is probabilistic. So I don't know what's happening June 9th related to this topic. But if you're looking at the article, I know it's small, it's May 3rd, 2022. Okay, so that's hallucination. And now let's look at the author. it didn't extract the author information. Well, Sarah LeBall is the author. So this is student, they were just like, oh, they did formatting, it's great. Done. Well, look at the next one. So that's the first one. There's a delay. So if we look at this article, again, we first check the title. Why this one are correct? Look at the hyperlink. Okay, and then now let's look at the date. Hooray, the date is accurate, April 10th, 2025. Fantastic. But Bolfig, I went to the whole website, did a thorough search. I cannot figure out who is this mysterious Bolfig. Okay, so all I'm saying is the hallucination can come from every angle. You cannot trust it and you have to check. And the last one. So this is the source. And again, looking at the title, if the hyperlink is correct, the title will be correct. And then the date, amazing. Wow. And let's look at the author. It actually extract two authors. What's going on here? How many authors do we have?
3.
So where is the third author? So what is the takeaway? Don't be the third author, otherwise ChatGPT won't give you the credit. So I think this kind of example really can show students you have to validate, especially the details. I think ChatGPT, like they think, oh, it's if the usage is for like a casual conversation, it should be fine. No, we are in education institution. We need the reference accurate, correct, not just the title, the date, the authors. And looking at all those feels like it's correct, but unless you check in the details, like the last one, oh, it's correct. Well, if you don't look into the third one, you miss information as well. So I think this would be a good example to show, well, AI is not there yet, especially for detail-oriented task, academic writing, citations. This be the best place to train students to learn how to be rigorous, meticulous. Yeah, I think there's a lot more bigger topic I'm not gonna cover. It's the students, after they use ChatGPT to write things, they don't know what they actually ChatGPT wrote. So one way I want to make sure is they learn from the output is, yeah, the group we have in-class case analysis. They watch a video, they can use ChatGPT to help them to understand the case, and they can come up with whatever outcome, but they have to present in front of the classroom. Well, you have to know what to say. So that's all I have for today. Simple, easy, and we can see those happening on the ground. Okay, thank you so much.
I have a quick question, please. So which model did you use for these tests?
That's a really good question. For these examples, it's ChatGPT, but I've compared ChatGPT, Grok 4 and Cloudy. So Anthropic actually do better. When they don't know the date, they don't hallucinate. When they don't know author, they don't come up with the Buffy. This is pure ChatGPT coming up with the fake author. Like when Cloudy, they cannot find or they're not able to extract. For instance, some web pages are picture based. They are not able to extract text. They just put the genetic title like the publisher's name. They don't give you the fake name. It's ChatGPT gave you the fake name. So Cloudy is slightly better. Less errors, a little bit more accurate, but they also hallucinate on other things.
I have a follow-up question on
Yeah.
this. Something I've tried, I know, I mean, we all know about AI hallucination, but something I've tried to add to the prompt is AI, if you don't know the answer, if you don't find it in this page, just say, I don't know, don't come up with your own information. Have you tried that and see what comes out of it? Like updating the prompt with this extra piece, do not fake or use fake data, just use whatever, or restrict yourself to this website.
I tried ChatGPT.
Still? Oh,
Yeah, I
sneaky
said,
ChatGPT.
yeah. I said, okay, if you don't have the information, you don't need to give the information. You need to be consistent, accurate. But it still like I said, can you double check? And it constantly said, I double checked. Everything's accurate.
Big liar.
Big liar, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I tried those on GPT-5. It's still, I constantly told you I double checked. Everything's accurate.
Yeah.
It's not.
You know?
Right,
Yeah.
thank you. Right,
Going next.
yes.
Brother, have-
Yep.
Yeah,
Can have it.
we will bring it to you.
You're welcome.
All right. Yeah, so question. I'm sorry, if there's a question.
Yes, my question is this, to the management professor, how has this changed the way in which you teach? What you're proposing here looks very time consuming, so can you give me a sense of how it's changed the dynamic of your work for you?
You mean the classroom?
Yeah.
So this is the aftermath summary, because after they submit their final projects, I look into their assignment and identified all things like this. And this actually is from grad students who I hired as a research assistant, help me to do the reference sections. So the first example, the first example I gave is undergrad students. There's a lot of hallucination beyond just the citation. But the second one is grad student check the references. I think in this semester when I'm teaching, I will focusing on the rigorous, the verified details aspect. Because if they're not looking into the details, the last one they can miss, or even the previous one, they're like, oh, they have authors and date is correct and the title is correct. The reason I figured out the author is fabricated is because I went to the website, I did a search, and there's no name like that on the website. But how many students actually will do that, given now they feel like, oh, looks good, it must be good. So I hope that answers your question, is using the examples to communicate, something looks confident may not be actually correct. Looks right, might not be right.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, one more, follow up. We want to make
Okay.
sure we
All
get.
right, so follow up on
Yeah.
this specific point, because I think it's something that everybody across many disciplines struggles with.
Yeah.
Going to ChatGPT in your work life, whatever that work life may turn out to be, is the easy default position. So are you trying to persuade a very small sample size of students this is not in your best business interests? I'm wondering what the long-term implications are of our efforts to try and persuade students to be highly critical of ChatGPT or other generative AI models if the mainstream of every society that has access to this technology all over the world is using it. So do we wait
Oh.
for the AI bubble to collapse? I mean, I'm very interested, since you are teaching management, you're a business person, right? This is a high impact world that you're working inside.
Yes, if I get your question correct, is I am all for incorporate AI in our education institution because industries are incorporate AI in their workforce.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
Agreed.
don't feel comfortable to send out our students, they don't know about what is AI, what is agentic AI, what is super AI, what is AI agent, how they work together. I don't feel comfortable for them not having those knowledge. So I will ask them, require them to embrace AI in their day-to-day learning. They can use AI to help them to learn. But I think what's missing is everyone sees the upside of the AI, but no one really put enough of focus on the downsides of the AI, which is I have no doubt AI accuracy, everything will improve along the line, but I want to train students to be to understand what is academic integrity, what is rigorous research, what is meticulous way of doing work, because that are the type of training skills and thinking missing in our current student generation. Everything's like, oh, good enough, good enough.
Mhm.
No, if you're a doctor, if you design a airplane, especially for engineers, good enough is not enough. It has to be accurate. One digital point in a wrong place, the bridge can collapse. So that's why I'm being so picky to looking at this. They're not missing other things, but this part they're completely missing. I hope that convey my idea about why I've been so, why I pick these examples.
No, it's very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it enormously. I've wondered about the impacts on business in particular. So this is very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Great, thank you. All right.
Right, so that my name is Abdullah Mohammed. I'm Associate of Teaching in Computer Science. And yeah, I've been involved in multiple projects exploring the different roles of AI in teaching and learning, including solving exercises, automating grading and feedback, using AI as a tutor to help students learn and support or answer their questions as they go, like what Raymond has presented, and so on, providing academic advising and so on. But when I was discussing with Barbara, we thought that it would be best if we focus on the theme of ethical use of AI. So today I will be focusing on this point, solving exercises and grading exercises. And the idea is that research has shown that AI can solve assignments increasingly well. It can also assess these assignments with high accuracy. That means the same system can generate assignments, can solve them, and can grade them. So what's left for us? I mean, if everyone is using AI and including them in our traditional way of teaching, then we are excluded, humans are being excluded, and the meaning of the assessments themselves, the assignments, change. I mean, are they still a valid way of assessing students? Or what's the purpose of assignments? Should be still used for evaluation or for learning? Should we change assignments or not? And I'm not saying that we should be afraid of AI. We should embrace AI. This is the future, but we need to rethink the way we do assignments and grade them and present them to students and include AI in our teaching. So I'm going to speak about two specific studies that I have done in this area for assessing assignments or for grading assignments. So the first study was for grading food assignments. I'm in computer science, so it makes sense that I focus on computer science coding. So traditional methods for grading these assignments, auto-grading these assignments use unit tests. What these do basically is that we ask the computer to run the code, and if it runs and presents the expected outcome, then the students get the grade. It works. If it doesn't provide the expected outcome, or if it breaks, like the code doesn't work at all because there's an error in the code, then these receive a 0. There's no way of giving partial marks for these students, especially first-year students. If you write code, everything makes sense, except that they forgot a semicolon or a comma or a bracket. Then the code breaks, and the unit tests would not be able to grade the submission, and then students will receive a 0. And actually, this was one of the complaints I received from one of the students taking a coding class with a certain professor who's using unit tests. If I make the slightest mistake, I would receive a 0, even though that the logic, everything makes sense, but this small mistake doesn't allow the code to run, and then they receive a 0. So the main research question was for this study was, can we use AI to give partial marks? Everything makes sense except for this little semicolon or missing this or that. Can we ask AI to evaluate and give partial marks? And we developed several methods of doing that. I'm not going to go into details, but I'm happy to discuss them with you after this session. Direct, reverse, with and without scaling. And the main finding was, if you look at this, it's a mouse. Oh, I can't move the mouse.
It's a little bit delayed.
Okay, there it is. Thank you. So if you look at this, the blue here is the TA grading. And not all, of course, TAs, sometimes they are a bit subjective when they grade, but this is, this blue box represents the outcome from TA grading, and AI with different methods is what you see on the right-hand side. And as you see, AI is aligned very closely with what TAs have done with the grading. So the main finding was, yes, AI can grade code assignments and give partial marks if it is provided with the right method, rubric, and prompt. The other study was for essay questions. So we wanted AI to grade essay questions that do not involve coding, things about definitions of computer science terms or about processes or about this or that related to computer science. And we tested different AI models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and so on. And again, without going into much details, we found that some models were not very stable, or were not providing the right or accurate outcome or accurate assessment. But most of the models, if they are provided with the right method, they would give you more or less accurate grade compared to the TA grading. So again, AI can grade essay questions. So that brings us back to what we call integrity paradox. In my discussion with Barbara, she raised this very, very good question. If AI can solve and grade assignments, how do we ensure integrity? What's left for us? So the traditional answer-focused assessment are now losing impact. If you just give them assignments and ask them, hey, solve them, and they use AI, and then they send back that to you and use AI again. That's not how it should work. So again, AI is what I've been doing in one of my courses, and this year, it's the Introduction to Programming course, is that I'm encouraging students to use AI, but to help them learn, not to replace their learning. Use AI to help you understand complex topics. Use AI to tutor you. Use AI to generate practice questions and flashcards. Do not use it to solve assignments, because this is what I want you to learn. I want you to learn foundational skills for computer science programming. And to make sure that they follow this rule, what we are doing, of trying this term for the first time actually, is to have them, submit whatever they submit. Before, I used to use a tool called JPLAG, where we detect similarities between students' code, but that's now not effective anymore, because AI can generate multiple versions of the same solution, and it would be very hard to catch those students who copy from each other. So instead, what I'm doing is I'm educating them, telling them how to use AI and learning in my course, asking them to solve assignments on their own. They can then ask AI to generate whatever and then compare and critically assess the outcome of AI, but the solution has to come from them first. And then at the end of the term, what we're doing is we are conducting an oral exam. And for the oral exam, that's what we're going to tell the students. It's not a memory test. It's not, we just want to make sure that you understand what you submitted for your assignments. It's a 5 to 10 minute exam. It's, if they can open up the assignments, they can have their notes, but I can ask about any of the 13 assignments I have, any questions and ideas assignments. And if they are able to explain what they have submitted, then they're good. They are not able to do that, then there's a penalty or consequences. So again, the focus would be not only being able to write code and solve the assignments, which again, I mean, programmers nowadays, they use AI to write code. I use AI to help me write code. Everyone does that. This is the future to improve efficiency, but it's not about writing code anymore. It's about justifying choices and being able to change what AI gives you, understand what AI has presented you, learning the fundamental skills and being able to not only accept or not accept AI outcome as is, but being able to critique, to judge, to change, and to update based on your understanding of how everything works together. So again, emphasize authentic thinking rather than just writing correct code. I think this is the last piece I want to share today. I have only one more slide, but I don't, you want?
Yeah, well, we can come back to it. I
Yeah.
think we'll open it up to some questions, and then again, we have opportunity to, if you'd like to, you're ready to get, get your hands wet. You don't get your hands wet. Get your hands dirty, I don't know. But if you'd like to try and go to the sandbox and you have some assignments that you want to try out, then you can accompany Michael, but you could still stay for a little bit of Q&A discussion, and we'll record that, and then we'll stop the recording, and then we could also brainstorm a little bit on the board around ethics and what this all means for teaching. So yeah, so let's open it up to maybe online Q&A, and you can raise your hand or unmute or type also into chat. Yeah,
I stop sharing so you can see everyone.
Rob, any question online?
You have a
Sure.
CFO. Yeah.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thanks, Rob.
Okay, maybe a bit of an old-fashioned perspective here, but and I do get the relevance of AI. I consult half time, as given that I lecture only half time. I listened to on CBC Radio. They were this morning. Even they were talking about a research article that just came out. I didn't catch the name of it. I think it was from MIT about someone finding, cognitive, concerns about, students using, for example, say AI first to do an assignment, and then, following up that with, thinking it through themselves. But so at the moment I'm teaching mainly larger first year classes. They're quite concept heavy. And my goal for those classes is just simply for my students to be able to be familiar with, there's quite an array of concepts that they get showered with, and to be able to articulate real world connections with the environment and climate change. These are environmental science courses. So I know that AI is going to be a bigger role, but I just want them to be able to know the concepts and articulate real world relationships. And I'm not sure where the role for AI is in that, or whether there inherently has to be a role for AI in a course like that. Again, not discounting the emerging role for AI, but my main goal is for them to be able to proficiently articulate these concepts back to me. And I'm finding in the last couple of terms that, especially on the final exams, which are written, when I read through many of those exams, I'm horribly flabbergasted, to the extent that so many students can't actually articulate, a few basic concepts in a couple of, sentences in a short answer paragraph. So, I mean, what should I be thinking about for my courses? I know they're going to have opportunity to use AI in future, but I'm not sure that it integrates well with my immediate goals for these courses.
Anybody who'd like to respond to that?
I would have a little bit of advice and just about what Mohammed said about how you should encourage students to try and improve their learning using AI, to try and ask questions to AI if they show interest in something and there's something confusing or they need clarification. That's where AI is really useful, and try and discourage them from putting any kind of assignment information in. Because I think in any field, AI can support you with that. If you have areas of interest and areas where you need clarification, AI can support you in that. Even if you don't see those students maybe using AI heavily in the workforce, or maybe what they're studying isn't related to it, I think they can use it to improve their learning. And in that process, they'll get more comfortable with the tools. So maybe they could use those tools otherwise.
I complete.
Oh, that- Yeah, a lot of people want to, add to that. Yeah, maybe Ying, and then we'll go to Catherine. I think you wanted to say something.
Okay, yeah. I completely agree with you. I think the number one thing as an educator is we still want them to have domain knowledge. Like for instance, in marketing, if they don't know what is marketing 4P, if they don't know what is SWOT analysis, they don't get marketing education training. So I'm gonna bring in class, in person exams. No access to any notes or computers, nothing. So my goal is to make sure the AI is a assistant for their learning. AI is not a replacement of their learning. So what I can see your student using AI is tell them, hey, this is the concept we're gonna learn. And I highly encourage you to use AI as your tutor. How can you use it? Or quiz me on this concept, provide a scenario, ask me to identify this concept, give me an application context for me to apply this concept, and use all the creative way you can test me. So my objective is to make sure I fully understand and able to apply this concept. So then AI really is a very powerful learning tool. Make it very clear, if you don't want to be replaced by AI, you need to have something to offer. What is that? That is, AI can do certain things, but other things like creativity, they're not able to do. So if you have critical thinking, then you have a value in the AI dominant job market. So currently, like Microsoft, they have, I think 30% of their code written by AI. And in the job market, majority of junior level jobs has been replaced by AI. But what that meant if you can improve your skill set, you can go beyond junior level, provide more complicated, provide a solution for more complicated problems. Or if you can coach AI, you can co-working with AI to improve some working process, you still have a role. So I think for every course, even you don't use AI in the classroom, you could give students a message, hey, AI is this free available tool, and make it your learning partner. So that's my message.
Yeah, I like that. Like, so, I mean, without having the time or resources right now, like to develop, you know, like a question framework for them in AI or something, but, you know, I would imagine even just having them maybe Google some answers and getting maybe the AI responses in that, and then maybe comparing them to what they learned in class, perhaps. I'm not sure.
Very last point. So if you have reliable sources, online sources, and
Mhm.
just give student a link, and student can put the link in ChatGPT and say, hey, fully digest all the message on that website, and then use that as the main source to coaching me to learn the concept frameworks and come up with all sorts of examples, quizzes, interactive activities. So I know how to learn. I want to make sure I learn it.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
we had, yeah, thank you. I think we had Catherine, and then what did you also, I can't
That's
see.
fine.
Yeah, so Catherine, do you had a comment? And then we'll go to Wes.
Yeah, so Barbara knows that I was a pretty early critic of ChatGPT, and I have been thinking, so what I've been doing over the summer, and I haven't finished yet, is doing a line-by-line proofreading of probably one of the last books ever written by a human being. So it's a history book by me. And as I've been doing that task, I've been thinking in the back of my mind, how do I teach students history in this era? And finally, I came up with an adaptation which addresses many of Rob's concerns. It's interesting that the concerns cross disciplines so easily. I think what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to assign my students primary source analysis. I'm going to ask them to find that primary source analysis. I'll give them the databases to look at. I'm going to ask them, so that will be part one, find the primary source analysis. Part two will be ask ChatGPT to analyze it for you. So that's part two. And then part three will be their own analysis of the original document and their critique of ChatGPT. And so it's a way to get them to use these generative AI models, but also see the shortcomings of them. Because I think if you're 18 years old, or even if you're 23 years old, you might think, hey, this is a great shortcut, but you're not really learning anything. And I was too young for this movie when it came out, but I keep thinking of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Hal, open the door. I'm sorry, Dave, I can't do that for you. Right? So I think we need to figure it out, but we have to reposition our role. There's a new article by Alex Connick to go off Rob's point about how people in these fields are thinking about this, which he proposes that in a very thoughtful and intentional way, we kind of return to a 19th century model as a tutor, but one that incorporates what Lin-Yu has said, what Rob has said, that we engage with the technology we have. We have to rethink what we do as professors, and for historians, that means you really can't assign a long form essay anymore, because you really are kind of wasting their time and your time if you do that. So it's a conundrum. I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna give it a try thoughtfully. And Rob, I would like to have coffee with you so we could discuss these ideas across disciplines and bring in Yinglu also, because the potential is there for us to find some solutions, but it's a difficult find.
Thanks, Catherine, and yeah, keep us posted how things go, and yeah, looking forward to. I mean, there's no one right answer how we do these things. So Wes, you had a question, comment?
More comment. Actually, I teach chemistry, specifically some of the most content-heavy chemistry classes that we have. And so you know, really as educators, we're training in practical skills, but also at the same time jamming information in people's heads. And if anyone says, and this is sort of my rant, well, you know, we want to be innovative in this and that, we have GPT. Innovation only happens when you have two ideas in the same brain at the same time. I don't know if many of our students have any ideas in their brains, actually, some of the time. But what I wanted to put out there was even take a step further back and look at how we use technology to put ideas in people's heads. Because there's a couple studies that have, actually one is not even that recent anymore. I can dig out the real references if we need, but one was looking at student learning outcomes, comparing actually a hard textbook versus digital. I think you know where I'm going with this. If we get all these great online books and these resources, people never flip back, they never underline things, they don't actually learn, and we can measure this. And another one would be actually the connection between simply writing down your own notes. Take a pen or a tablet and actually write as somebody speaks. And, you know, I can predict who's going to have the better learning outcomes in terms of who remembered what they were taught. So are we doing ourselves a favor here? Yeah, I understand that. I don't think there's anybody in medicine, business, law that even sends an email anymore without running it through ChatGPT. I get it, but it's actually not helping our students that much learn. Or am I so old fashioned that the current text generation is actually okay with that? These studies are out of date. I've been told that. I don't believe it. I'm just sort of throwing out there that where student learning outcomes have been measured, the impact of technology hasn't been overwhelmingly successful.
Yeah, I do. I will let other people jump in. I do have some thoughts on that. I've read that literature, especially, you know, my background is teaching, you know, writing, which involves reading, and definitely will read differently on the screen than if it's paper. But I think technology can help because we have tools like online annotation. So even if somebody maybe they can't even read their own handwriting because we don't teach penmanship anymore. So how do you take notes? But if you're, for example, using a tool like Hypothesis, where you're actually annotating, and you can have groups also annotating the same document and writing on those comments, then that's that active, you know, where the cognition is happening, they're thinking. And so tools can support learning. And, you know, creation, I think we mentioned creation of flashcards, different kinds of tools that maybe students are, you know, we're moving beyond Google and beyond scrolling. So that's where we need to increase that AI literacy, I think, for students to be aware of, like, don't do these things anymore. We're moving beyond that, right? Because of the tools that we have. So, yeah.
I read those literatures, so I think I'm not sure I'm the only, but I don't allow students to use phone in my classroom. So up to 2019, I don't allow any digital device in my class. Student come to me said, "You're the only professor we have to have handwrite notes." I'm like, well, that's how you train your cognitive abilities. But the good news is you can still force them to write hand notes, because if they put the hand notes in ChatGPT, can recognize it perfectly. So in my class, I want to give them pen, paper to write ideas before they use technology. I 100% endorse the reading books. Like the system thinking, you flip back and forth, you linking ideas. That's completely missing in the digital world.
So do you give handouts then, paper handouts to?
I don't give paper
Yeah.
handouts. I ask them to take, because before I don't allow them to use any digital device. They have to write notes on the paper. And then they know, because every class I start with 3 fundamental questions they have to discuss, find answers. I randomly call them to answer the questions. And the smart student realize later on those the beginning questions will end up in their midterm and final. And those I don't share. So I share slides, I don't share those questions. You'll have to take it notes. So I 100%, I don't know what is the best way because they all use digital textbook. They don't read book.
I just like to follow up on that. Like I've done some peer evaluations of teaching recently in our math and stat, and the way it's historically been done is someone would write on the whiteboard, or now they do technology and they write it down, thinking that the students would be following along and writing it down. But what happens in 95% of the cases, the students will wait, they'll take a picture, they'll put their phone down. And then at that point, both sides need to reflect on that's not hitting the learning outcomes that you're trying to do. They're not following on writing, and you're wasting a lot of time as an instructor writing things down that they're not writing the way you want anyways. So we have to sometimes adapt to technology or totally remove it in certain ways.
No phone in my class.
But like Kevin, like, we don't do equations, we do reactions. But it's really similar, and I promise, not for all students, but for the majority, your hand knows the answer before your head does. You learn to get the right answer by rote copying it down before it actually syncs up here. And I don't know if there's a way to bypass that.
Right.
I think we're trying to be too cute actually in some of this. I have the same thing. I'll scribble a whole bunch of stuff like a big diagram and then put somebody to take a picture. I'm like, how are you gonna learn how to put this on a test if you just take a picture? You're gonna
And they don't know.
take a
the-
picture of
And
the
they don't
test
go
or
look
something,
at
or you're
it.
gonna text it to me? Yeah. So I have had the same.
Yeah, so Catherine, put in the chat, students use voice to text transcription as well, right? So yeah, I think we haven't, I think a whole other conversation is also accessibility and accommodations. So I think, yeah, some students really are benefiting from these technologies and be able to really focus on their learning. Other students are using it as a crutch, right? So there's a little bit of everything. Yeah, so there's.
So if you think about the learning pyramid, lecturing the least effective only allow them to retain 5% of knowledge. But what is the most effective is teach other students the same knowledge. That means they can retain up to 90% of knowledge. So what can help is, like I said, if they really use AI as a learning partner, keep getting quiz, and keep trying to apply it to the point they can, like text audits, like audit the text is fine. If they can explain it and elaborate in a right way, teach another person next to them, that means they learned. So how, like, that could be one way we can think to help them.
That's right.
Right.
The Susan has hand up for a while now.
Oh, it doesn't appear, oh, because I gotta scroll up. Sorry, Brendan, you had to scroll through all the participants. Please.
Hi, I just wanted to add to the conversation. I would fully support, and I've tried out as well, what Abdullah was saying, that you need to have this additional layer of checking that students can support what they have written down, particularly for out of class assignments. So I give students in my class, and it's a smaller class, it's up to 40 students, and if it's a fourth year class, a research paper assignment to do, but it's a group research paper assignment. But what I have is several scaffolded steps that are, formative steps towards the final paper. And I meet students at every step. I meet them as a group, and I ask them, questions about what they have submitted. So, things like just, brainstorming regarding the topic, it would be the very first formative step. Then you're writing an outline, then an annotated bibliography, all of that. And the key thing is that basically you need to ensure that they can stand by what they've written, even if they've used AI. And I do have a Gen AI disclosure form as well that I make them fill in, whether they have used it or not. I have moved over the last couple of years from being totally anti AI to seeing AI as a friend and using it, because I don't think we can get away from it. And they are going to use it when they're out there in the real world. So there's no getting away from that. It's really monitoring that the learning is happening that I feel that is the important thing. They may use it, but are they learning anything? And that is the important. And obviously the nature of the assignment is also important. If there's critical thinking, they're comparing and contrasting things that probably AI can do as well, then yeah, that's what I have done. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Brendan. Yeah, I think that's really focusing on the process, right? And having students pause and reflect and discuss and share is really important.
I just will add, sorry to interrupt you there. I just wanted to add that I am able to do that because it is a smaller classroom. I mean, if I had 100 kids in my class and without any TA support, that would be a lot of, that would be probably impossible. Yeah. And especially in the current climes where it's difficult to also get enough TA support. Yeah.
Great. Well, maybe we could figure out how GenAI can help with that. Yeah, so I want to pause here. I think, I don't know, Michael, do you still have time to take people down?
Yeah, I mean, if we wanted to be quick, we absolutely could just show you very quickly what's the opportunities are there. We actually had some prompts on the whiteboard, but I don't think we'll have time to collect notes on that. But yeah, if you guys just want to come and see the station, you could. Or are you planning on staying in?
I'll still stay here if people still want to talk and, or could still leave the Zoom open if there's still some more conversation. But I think anybody who would like to go with Michael, I don't want to. There'll be other chances, but there's a chance now, and maybe there's something on your mind that you want to try out.
For sure. Yeah. So if you want to come with me, we'll just be heading down to ADM 103. But also no obligation. If you guys have other things to do, no problem whatsoever.
Which one again?
ADM 103.
Okay.
Great. All right. Looks like a lot of people want to sign off online, but feel free if you want to stay here. But it looks like everybody's taking off here, so.
Okay, yeah.
I'm so excited about it. I think we're going to close off the session. Thank you to all our panelists. And look for email with more information and the recording.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you all.
Thank you.